What happens when you take the most powerful supercomputer on Earth and wire it directly into a quantum chip? For decades, the tech world has treated quantum computers and classical supercomputers as rivals, two different machines fighting for supremacy. But on March 12, 2026, IBM stepped onto a stage and revealed a blueprint that proved everyone wrong. They aren't rivals. They are two halves of a machine we have never seen before. IBM didn't just announce a new qubit count, they announced a new era of human computing. They call it Quantum-Centric Supercomputing. And to prove it works, they are integrating a quantum processor directly within RIKEN's Fugaku, a massive supercomputer with over 152,000 nodes. Why? Because there are problems in the universe, like the exact folding structure of a 303-atom protein that a classical computer would need billions of years to solve. But by letting the quantum chip handle the impossible math, and the classical supercomputer handle the massive data processing, IBM just built a machine that can do it in days. This is way beyond an upgrade. This is fundamentally a rewrite of how humanity can solve problems. Welcome to the dawn of the Quantum-Centric Supercomputer. Welcome to Click Future, where your future is a click away. If you've been following the quantum race, you know that IBM, Google, and Microsoft have been battling for quantum supremacy. The moment a quantum computer can do something a classical computer simply cannot. IBM's new blueprint completely changes the rules of the game. Let's break down exactly what they built, how it works, and why it's about to change medicine, materials science, and artificial intelligence forever. To understand why IBM's new blueprint is so revolutionary, we first have to understand the wall that classical computing just hit. For the last 60 years, we've been advancing computing power by Moore's law, the idea that computing power doubles roughly every 2 years. We made transistors smaller and smaller, packing billions of them onto a single silicon chip. This method of consistent progression gave us the internet, smartphones, and artificial intelligence. The challenge to Moore's law is the physical limit to how small a transistor can get. We are now manufacturing chips with transistors the thickness of just a few atoms. Our knowledge of physics today tells us that a single atom will be the absolute limit. If you go any smaller, the electrons literally have to jump across barriers. The laws of classical physics break down, and quantum mechanics takes over. Classical supercomputers like the massive Fugaku system in Japan are incredible machines. Fugaku can perform over 442 quadrillion calculations per second. It is a beast of classical engineering, but it still speaks the language of ones and zeros. It processes information sequentially, one step at a time. To appreciate just how powerful Fugaku is, consider this. It took the entire human race thousands of years to accumulate enough mathematical knowledge to build it, and yet, Fugaku is still fundamentally the same kind of machine as the first transistor-based computer built in 1947. It is just incomprehensibly faster. The architecture hasn't changed, the language hasn't changed. It's still ones and zeros all the way down. And there are certain problems in nature that are simply too complex for ones and zeros. Take a caffeine molecule. It has 24 atoms. To perfectly simulate the quantum state of a single caffeine molecule, you would need a classical computer the size of the Earth. Why? Because atoms don't exist in simple states of 1 or 0. They exist in complex, overlapping probabilities. When scientists try to discover a new drug to cure a disease or a new material to build a better battery, they are essentially trying to solve a massive quantum puzzle. Classical computers are terrible at quantum puzzles. They have to guess and check over and over, taking so much time to run the calculations we could be waiting here on Earth until the sun burns out. This is where the value of quantum computing arrives. Quantum computers don't use traditional bits, they use qubits. Thanks to the principles of superposition and entanglement, a quantum computer can process vast amounts of possibilities simultaneously. It speaks the native language of nature. But there is a dirty little secret of the quantum industry. Quantum computers are terrible at basic math. They are incredibly noisy. They need to be cooled to near absolute zero just to function. And if you ask a quantum computer to do a simple data processing task, a cheap laptop will beat it every time. So now you know the problem. Classical computers are great at data, but terrible at nature. Quantum computers are great at nature, but the quantum computers of today are terrible at data. Looking back, for years, scientists thought the solution was just to build a bigger, better quantum computer until it could do everything. But IBM realized something profound. Why build one machine that does everything poorly when you can wire two perfect machines together? On March 12, 2026, IBM released their Quantum-Centric Supercomputing Blueprint. It's a master plan for the next decade of computing architecture. The concept is brilliantly simple, but engineering it is one of the hardest challenges in human history. IBM is building a system where a massive classical supercomputer and an advanced quantum processor work together in real time, passing information back and forth seamlessly. Think of it like a massive corporation. The classical supercomputer is the army of thousands of data entry clerks, analysts, and managers. They handle the massive volume of daily operations, sorting files, moving data, and organizing the workflow. The quantum processor is the genius CEO sitting in the corner office. The classical supercomputer takes a massive, impossible problem, like discovering a new cancer drug. It breaks the problem down, sorts all the known data, and organizes it perfectly. Then it takes the one specific, impossible quantum math problem that it cannot solve, and it hands it to the quantum CEO. The quantum processor uses its qubits to simulate the molecular interaction. It finds the optimal molecular structure in a matter of hours, something the classical computer couldn't do in 1,000,000 years. The quantum processor then hands the answer back to the classical supercomputer, which takes that data, organizes it, and prints out the final drug formula for the scientist. This is hybrid computing, and IBM is the first company to build a true, scalable blueprint for it. To prove this isn't just theory, IBM announced a historic partnership. They're integrating their advanced quantum processors directly with RIKEN's Fugaku supercomputer in Japan. Fugaku has over 152,000 classical computing nodes. It is a monster of a machine. By connecting it to a quantum processor, IBM is creating the first true quantum-centric supercomputer. How do you actually wire a freezing cold quantum chip to a massive room temperature supercomputer? You can't just plug in a USB cable. IBM had to invent an entirely new type of middleware. They call it Qiskit. It is a software layer that acts as the universal translator between the classical ones and zeros and the quantum probabilities. Qiskit allows a classical programmer who knows nothing about quantum physics to write a program that automatically utilizes the quantum processor when it needs to. This is the holy grail of computing. You don't need to be a quantum physicist to use it. The system handles the translation automatically. What can a quantum-centric supercomputer actually do? Why does this matter to you and me? To demonstrate the power of this hybrid architecture, IBM researchers tackled one of the most notoriously difficult problems in science: simulating a complex molecule. They didn't just pick any molecule, they chose a massive 303-atom protein structure. To put this in perspective, simulating a molecule with just 50 atoms perfectly is beyond the reach of any classical supercomputer on Earth. The number of possible interactions between the electrons in a 50-atom molecule is greater than the number of atoms in the observable universe. A 303-atom molecule is mathematically impossible, for classical machines. IBM didn't use a classical machine. They used their new hybrid blueprint. They let the classical supercomputer handle the bulk of the structural data, and they used the quantum processor to simulate the complex electron correlations that the classical machine couldn't handle. Working together, the hybrid system successfully simulated the 303 atom structure. This was a watershed moment in computational chemistry. It proved that we don't have to wait 20 years for a million-qubit quantum computer to solve real-world problems. By using a quantum-centric supercomputer, we can solve impossible problems today. The implications of this are staggering. In medicine, this means we can simulate how a new drug will interact with a specific protein in your body before we ever synthesize the drug in a lab. We can design targeted cancer therapies in a computer perfectly customized to a patient's DNA. In materials science, we can design new, ultra-efficient batteries for electric vehicles by simulating the exact chemical reactions at the atomic level. We can design materials that capture carbon directly from the atmosphere to fight climate change. In agriculture, we can simulate the nitrogen fixation process to create cheap, zero-emission fertilizers, potentially solving global food shortages. This isn't science fiction. This is the exact roadmap that IBM has laid out. The 303 atom simulation was just the proof of concept. The Fugaku integration is the first step toward commercializing this power. IBM has drawn a line in the sand. They have publicly stated that the future of computing is not quantum or classical, it is quantum and classical. And the rest of the tech industry is scrambling to catch up. NVIDIA, the undisputed king of classical AI chips, is rapidly building their own quantum classical hybrid platforms. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang has acknowledged that the future of AI acceleration will require quantum coprocessors. Google is pushing the limits of their Sycamore and Willow quantum processors, looking for ways to integrate them with their massive AI data centers. Microsoft is leveraging their Azure cloud infrastructure to offer hybrid quantum computing to their enterprise clients. And their Majorana 1 topological qubit chip represents a completely different architectural approach that could leapfrog IBM's superconducting qubits entirely. But IBM has a massive head start. They have the hardware, they have the Qiskit software, and they have the institutional partnerships with giants like RIKEN. There is a broader economic implication here that is rarely discussed. The pharmaceutical industry alone spends over $200 billion a year on drug discovery and development. The vast majority of that cost comes from the trial and error process of testing millions of molecular combinations in a lab. A quantum-centric supercomputer that can simulate molecular interactions at the atomic level doesn't just speed up that process, it fundamentally changes the economics of medicine. Drug discovery could go from a 10 to 15-year process to a 2 to 3-year process. The cost of developing a new drug could drop by an order of magnitude. IBM's blueprint has essentially made pure classical supercomputers obsolete for the most complex problems. Within the next 5 years, a supercomputer without a quantum coprocessor will be like a modern gaming PC without a graphics card. It might be able to run the operating system, but it won't be able to play the game. We are entering an era where the hardest problems facing humanity, disease, climate change, energy scarcity, are no longer limited by our computing power. We finally have a machine that speaks the language of nature. The quantum revolution isn't coming in 20 years. It's happening right now inside the freezing core of a hybrid machine. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on the quantum and AI revolution, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We are tracking these breakthroughs as they happen right here on Click Future. What do you think is the most exciting application for a quantum-centric supercomputer? Curing disease? Solving climate change? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep looking forward. Your future is a click away.